The awareness part of this, I think, is the critical part, because Ellen is a mile-a-day swimmer. She plays golf only on days that end in Y, and so that's every day. And then all of a sudden, despite all that activity and whatnot, she wasn't feeling like herself. And having the courage to say, you know, I don't feel that good, and all those things. And you know how us busy men are. You know, we're like, yeah, you'll be bad, you'll be fine. You know, get back in the game. You know, you're okay. But the awareness piece for us is to try to pay attention to those signs, and then as you look at those statistics, you know, there are so many good causes out there and so many great health issues to discuss, but obviously for women this is the number one. And so watching her give us those symptoms and then going through the whole ordeal of trying to figure out what was wrong, it took a lot of courage, it took a lot of patience, it took a lot of collaboration with great doctors. And one thing that we found out, we were living in Columbus at the time, yet her heart doctor was the Cleveland Clinic because her mom had had the same thing. And so we felt like, well, you know, we should just talk to our doctors at Ohio State. And, you know, well, you know, they really couldn't figure it out totally, but they were such that they said, hey, you know, let's get together with your doctors at the Cleveland Clinic and let's put our heads together. And as it turned out, when they finally figured it out, and hers was a little more complex than her mother's, is we happened to bring the imaging from Ohio State that Ohio State couldn't see anything on, but the experts who study this hokum every day and whatnot at the Cleveland Clinic looked at the imaging from Ohio State, and they got the answer from someone else's imaging. Their imaging did not bring forth, you know, the solution. So don't be afraid to collaborate, because our doctors at Ohio State and our doctors at the Cleveland Clinic all came together, and your cardiologist from Ohio State came the day of the surgery.
Yes, she did.
To learn more about what was going. So, you know, don't be afraid to talk, you know, back and forth. And if you know, you're just not sure, because believe me, these guys and gals and nurses and nurse practitioners and all the rest, they want to learn all they can too.
I would just leave you with one thing, and that's, you know, you be your own best advocate. You know your body. You know what's right, what's wrong. You know when you don't feel well, and you have to address it. A lot of times those things don't go away on their own. So, you know, don't take it for granted, because my mom, for example, was one of those who, you know, put her arrhythmia off. You know, she's, oh, I'm just tired, I'm this, I'm that. And actually, she could have helped herself a lot more had she addressed the situation earlier than later. She has complications now because she waited too long to get it fixed. So listen to what your body is telling you. That would be my advice. When I went through this in 2010, what I was told were the statistics were that 1 in every 500 people has some form of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Now, there are different stages of this disease. There's a sudden death component, there's a later in life onset, there's an early onset. But the interesting thing in our family is we all have the same mutated gene, but our symptoms are different in every one of us. My mom has arrhythmia. She has an enlarged heart. My son has palpitations. I had the shortness of breath. So, and I had the papillary issues. But you can also be asymptomatic. You can carry this gene and it can be dormant your whole entire life. So it's a weird thing, but it's real.